you very much, Onome. I think it's not about Dr. Mahmood, more about the team. And it's always been the team anyway, under strong, very good coordinating platforms that we have built over the years. So in that regard, please, I want to just simply humble myself and permit me to bring other members of the team so they can tell you their stories. And that's the only way you get to hear it firsthand. You guys to have it firsthand. Mr. Haruna Mohammed is a scientific officer with us. He's the one that is handling the Navision help desk. Please step forward. He will provide us the context under which we roll out the van. Mr. Yoms Ishaku, please come forward. This is the man, he's a principal data officer, and he's the man that collects the data every day. Was unable to attend to his Christmas holiday last year, this year equally also, and he'll be sharing those process disciplines around the data and other issues with you guys. Then I have Yunusa Madugu. Please step forward. Is the one with the IT backbone amongst us. Principally, he will just be answering questions. Please, when you have all the questions that have to do with APIs, don't ask me. Ask him. He will tell you where the Galaxy backbone is, or wherever it is. Then this effort has not just been at the national level alone. It has also been in perfect alignment with states. States were actually at the center of driving most of this initiative. And please permit me to invite Mr. Rabiu Fage. He is the State Logistics Officer in Kano. They blazed the trail. And he will be sharing those state perspectives with you also. Then I have Dr. Olubimi Akinlade from Lagos. She's the Immunization Program Officer for Lagos. She'll also be sharing the perspectives from that side of the country. You know, Nigeria is really very diverse. But then, this is not the whole team. We had a support team. And I think this is very key that I mentioned them. And I want to quickly go over this. Eguma Fochai, please stand up for recognition. Onome from UNICEF, stand up for recognition again once more. And I have somebody I would like to also, because I've spotted her in the hall. Michelle, even though you are in Copenhagen now, but I still believe you are a Nigerian. Please stand up for recognition and you are part of this. You are with us for 3 years doing this. Justin Lorenzo is from Field Intelligence, and they are the ones that are providing us with all the design technologies insights that we have. And last but not the least, David, please don't be offended. I'm humble to introduce this. He was there to provide. So just as a background, I think yesterday when India presented, it was a complex country, big in size, everything. One state of India was like the whole of 36 states of Nigeria. Yes, we understand that. We want to also believe that we are complex. We're also big in African context. And our complexity even far goes beyond that of India. Those of you that attended the Kaduna session will have noticed one complexity that most countries don't go through. And I'll just give you a typical example. In Kaduna, within 2 years, they had how many PAM6, Pamela? In Lagos, within 2 years also, they had how many PAM6? About 3. At the national level, Mahmoud, as a director, just as part of the team, had 3 executive directors in 6 months. This is how complex Nigeria is. So when you look at Nigeria, please have this at the back of your mind. We're talking about 180 million children. We're talking about over 250 ethnicities. We're talking about 35,000 health facilities that we need to cover across 9,562 wards. And we have this huge governance challenge. So I'll invite Mr. Haruna to quickly set the stage, give you the context of our story. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. In setting the context about Nigerian story, the value of process display in Nigeria. Next slide.
No, that's okay.
Okay, sorry. This is our story on how we enforce process display in Nigeria. We had our stock management tool to have visibility across all supply immunization chain in Nigeria. It was very useful, but not user-friendly. Where one, we had to combine 44 Excel sheets to generate a quarterly report. And there were challenges in terms of low frequency of update and timeliness of reporting. So what did we do? To overcome this stock management tool, we came up with very simple, impactful stock performance management dashboard solution that was able to give us, on a weekly basis, our vaccine visibility across all immunization supply chain. Every week, the LGA team sent their physical stock through the SMS to the state level, the collection center. The state teams sent their data to the national, and national provide feedback. And this consolidated data is being shared on a weekly basis among the stakeholders. Well, as impactful as immunization is, the stock management tool is, we rose from 34% to over 80% in data visibility across all levels. And we're able to have over 90% completeness and timely reporting of our data. But it also has its own challenges. You know, in using Excel, we're having challenges of functionality where it easily breaks because this Excel is being configured with formulas. And if anything happens to one of the rows, any data you enter, it affects the whole process. In terms of interoperability, we also had that challenge in communicating with other existing data platforms. Over time, each state Excel file began to reach 100 megabytes, making it difficult to transfer data to the national for analysis. So what did we do? In order to improve our warehouse stock management tool, we introduced an ERP solution, Navision. It is real-time and automated tool. It was very useful where we're able to get a real-time data. It is being configured for national, to work for national level, the state level, and 6 zonal stores. But it has its own challenge because at the inception, the usage was very low. We have between 3 to 24%, less than 25%. Because it was not user-friendly, and also it required internet connectivity. And we're having that challenge at the lower level, particularly at the state level, where the state team complains about internet connectivity, despite the bundle that have been provided for them. So because of the unfriendly usage of the NAV, we organized a classroom training where it also did not yield result, just to improve the proficiency skill of the users. Because at that time, there was no support decks to actually solve the problems for them in the process of using the Navision. So an opportunity came out where we had to leverage on international conference using the VAN concept, where we have visibility across our supply chain immunization, to also be able to analyze data for disease to inform our decisions from all the system of network we have at our hands. So after the conference, we went back to the country, we sat down, established project management unit, through which we developed Nigerian-specific VAN gap analysis across people, processes, policy, and technology. And after the identification of this specific gap analysis, we designed our reference blueprint for implementation of Nigerian VAN. So in line with our reference blueprint, we review and redesign our system roadmap to have visibility of all the immunization indicators domiciled in one solution. I've told us we had SMT, stock management tool, dashboard, and Navision. So what did we do? We want to harmonize all of these systems so that they can communicate with one another. So that is the dashboard on top. We have the DHIS and the last mile solution like Beyond Wireless. And we have our control tower, which is the Navision. It's a real-time and automated system. So that we can, all of these systems can communicate with one another to enable us to analyze our data to inform our decisions. So what did we do? We took a bold step to begin implementation of this redesigned roadmap system roadmap. So we bring this simple Excel dashboard, integrate it into Navision. So we recustomize our Navision to suit our systems because when it was deployed, it was not user-friendly, like I've said. So we're trying to increase greater usage of Navision because people nationally, the simple Excel dashboard was accepted and everybody was using it very fine. We get our report on a weekly basis. So we integrate it into Navision, and that has shown a lot of greater usage of Nav, where we also have increase in RGA visibility. So that is our new integrated dashboard interface that has replaced the Excel sheet. And we have also prepared Navision roadmap for further improvement. So I'm going to invite the man in charge of weekly dashboard to give us more, shed more light on the processes, on how we get our vaccine from the lower level down to the national. Mr. Yams.
Thank you, Mr. Haruna. After the integration, we harmonized our data flow processes across solutions to have one integrated dashboard. In the whole process, the LGA sent in their stock through SMS to the state cold chain officer, who collates and imputes this data into an Excel and send it to the national. And the national send feedback to the states by confirming what they've sent and also share results to the National Logistic Working Group, which comprises the partners and the government. The new process entails the same LGA send their stock balances on weekly basis through SMS to the states. The states collect those data and do physical count of his store and impute it in the integrated NAV dashboard. Then the national team will now sit down, confirm the feedback to the states, and share reports to the National Logistic Working Group. Now, in Nigeria, using several approaches has shown process discipline by defining, following, and improving on people and policies. Now, we have different data management review groups at the state and at the national level. At the national level, we have the National Logistic Working Group that normally have regular meetings bi-weekly. And what do? They have robust discussion. And the integrated dashboard is always at the radar of discussion. Another group at the national is the PMU. It was inaugurated 2016, but as I'm talking to you now, we've had 43 meetings. And by next week, we are going to have another meeting. What do? They have robust discussion to review the data processes and policy of the entire country. Now, another team under the national too is the allocation team. What does this team do? They review the integrated dashboard and also inform quarterly distribution or allocations to the zones and to the state, because we have push system in Nigeria. Now, at the state level, there is a state logistic working group. At that level, they have regular meetings on monthly basis, and they report their stock balances. They validate the reports, because what the LGA send, the state team had to go and validate those stock balances and do spot check on weekly basis. Where there are issues, they flag it. Then there is also another level, which is the LGA level. At that level, they have this peer review meetings where if there are issues that were flagged up from the state, they now direct the feedback to the health facility. And all this has given us continuous improvement of action. Now, the process discipline has really improved availability. And we've had like 98% of completeness and 95% of timeliness of our report in Nigeria. Now, how do we do? The cycle goes like every Friday, the LGA officer do physical count, send this physical count through SMS from 8 to 5 p.m., whether there is public holiday or no public holiday. It's mandatory, you have to do that, and send this report to the state. And what do the state do? Whether there is public holiday too or not, he collates what the LGA send and do physical count in his own store, impute it into the dashboard, and upload it into the cloud on or before 5 p.m. every Friday. Now, if this thing reached the national, because before, as I've said, it was an Excel base, but now from the state it goes straight into the cloud. The national now send feedback to the state, confirming the stocks, and on Saturday, every Saturday after they've sent their report, we now collect those reports, analyze it, and confirm to the state that what you've sent is okay or is not okay, and we highlight issues where they can follow up, and also recommend solutions where there are. And at the end of the day, there are actions that are being taken by the National Logistic Working Group. The State Logistic Working Group also has the leadership of the stakeholder of that state, and they now, whatever issues that we flag up through the feedback, the state sit down and analyze what they are supposed to do. And the NLWG, which is the National Logistic Working Group, problem solve and investigate unresolved issues. Now, this is the situation of Nigeria as at 31st March, that's last Friday. On the left-hand side, you can see the state stock balances and the zonal stores. And on my right there, you can see the LGA situation. And there is a map showing the zonal stores situation. And the center of that map, you have the state zonal situations. And on the extreme right there, you can see the LGA situation. You can see under that map, at the extreme there, you can see some white spots there. That white spot is telling us about the non-reporting LGAs, which is in Borno State, where we have insurgency, as you all are aware. From inception of the VSM dashboard, data review was about action and informed decision. You can see on this picture, before the integration of the VSPM dashboard into the Navision interface, we normally have a postcard at the state store where you do your physical count and enter it. And you can see two people trying to enter their ledger balances on those on the board. With the LGAs, all those boxes, you have various LGAs attached there. As you enter any store, you see the stock balances placed on the board there. Before we now migrated to the Excel, and now we have the state reporting on the NAV platform. Now, the data visibility has given us informed action. Over time, the Navision has shown stock of almost 223 weeks of 5 ml syringes. And we're wondering, this was presented normally to the NLWG. And they were asking, what brought about this? Are we sure we have this stock? And the NLWG now constitute a team of government and partners to go and check if those stocks are really on ground. And they went, they came back and were informed that those stocks were there and decisions were taken on a way forward. And it has given us a lot of informed accountability. Now, from inception, we instituted a competition at the state and at the national level. The state conduct this competition for the LGAs in the states. And that the indicator used is for timely reporting. And we now imbibe this football league, where if an LGA send report from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m., you have your 3 points. And if your LGA send report, it must be complete anyway. Between 11 a.m. and 5 p.m., you earn your 1 point. And if you send your report after 5 p.m., you have 0 mark. Now, all those marks, at the end of the month, they will now tell you which league do you belong to. You have the Premier League. If you have your 3 points for the whole 4 weeks, you remain in the competition, which is the Premier League. Otherwise, you fall between either the league champion or the League 1 or League 2. And that one has really gingered them to send their report in good time. Now, this reporting situation is also applicable at the national, where we at the national level, we now look at the states on the percentage of LGAs reporting. If you have 44 LGAs, like the Kano State man, if he sends just 43 LGAs, he will not earn the desired percentage for that very week. If he sends 44 LGAs report and on time, you have that. And for now, these are the various states that are in Premier League in Nigeria. We have Nasarawa State, Kwara State, Bauchi State, Kebbi State, and Kano State. The others are still struggling, even though we've just finished quarter 1. We believe that they will go further. And on the extreme left there, you can see at the end of our annual review, that's the Logistics and Health Commodities Department review, we issue prices to the best performing states. And you can see there, David Saleh was there witnessing one of the states collecting prize in one of our review meetings. Now, this is an example of one of the state competition from Ebonyi State, where Ezza South was able to emerge as the winner from the league. Now, on this stage, I'll invite my colleague to continue from the state perspective.
So good morning all. Thank you so much, Yoms. I think Yoms has made my work very easy. He has already explained to all of you what we do at the state on weekly basis. The national is not going to allow us to sleep even during weekends, public holidays, or what have you. We must send the stock balances, and that is very important. Talking about Kano State, which is one of the 36 states in the Federation, that has a population of about 15 million people with 44 local government areas, 484 wards. So far, the most populous state in the country. I know Lagos will try to challenge that. But the census already said that. It is important for us to understand that we really wanted to get so much visibility in Kano State, even to the last mile. For us to be able to achieve that, 3-4 years ago, the state went into a tripartite MOU with Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Dangote Foundation, to strengthen the immunization in the state. That has yielded so much results. Part of which that has to do with VAN is the increase in the capacity of the people. So many people had to be brought on board. People like me who were just in clinical practice. We were brought on board so that we can help groom the system and move forward. Newer positions were created, like that of myself as the state logistics officer of the state. At the ward level, we created positions like the ward technical officer. That's part of the people we're talking about. For the policies, it has become a national policy in Nigeria that at least every ward should have one functional solar refrigerator that you can use to store vaccines, make vaccines closer to the people so that immunization will be much, much easier. The reach will be very, very easy. That we've been able to procure over 350 cold chain equipments, solar refrigerators, which we distributed to all the wards. We are also able to expand the cold chain functionality also at the ward and the state level by procuring 5 working cold rooms. For policy also, we involved so much the traditional institutions because they are much, much closer to the communities. Now, for the processes, how do we get these vaccines to these locations? So we had to do a system redesign. We had to agree that it is no more pool. We have to push even to the last facility. For us to be able to do that, we imbibed the culture of vaccine direct delivery, using 3PLs, of course. Now, we were able to push vaccines on monthly basis to all our equipped wards, providing all the requirements, and of course, increasing immunization. This slide is just going to show us some of the increase in performance about stock availability in Kano State from the inception when we first started direct vaccine delivery in May 2014. In May 2014, when we first started, availability was as low as 53%. 47% of the wards that received delivery had stock out. So we had recorded 47% stock out across all the wards in the state. So we started. We were progressing. It took us 3 years, but finally we have been able to achieve that. In February this year, precisely in February this year, the state has been able to record for the first time 0% stock out across 1,250 health facilities. This is monumental for the state. And just as one of my colleagues said yesterday, it's not time to go to the beach. It is now time for us to sustain and maintain this. We are also interested not only on taking the vaccines to the facilities, but correlating, triangulating the reportage of immunization data with the availability. For that, this slide is telling us that all the facilities that have received vaccines have been able to give us their immunization data. So I think these are some of the few things I would like to say about Kano. And I would like to invite Lagos State to also give us some of their experiences. Thank you.
Hey everybody, I'm not going to waste your time, but I don't think Dr. Mahmood recognized all the Nigerians in the room. Check under your seat, I'm sure you'll find one, because you know they say Nigerians are everywhere.
Thank you for that.
In Lagos, we recognized that we had challenges with delivery to the last mile in terms of vaccine stock. So initially, our design was the LGA cold chain officers come to the state cold store weekly to pick up vaccines. But in 2013, with support from CHAI and BMGF through the first half of 2015, we started delivering vaccines to the health facilities through a 3PL, just like my colleague from Kano has said. By 2014, June, sorry, let me just go back a little bit so we can understand the foundation. When we started the pilot, we were only delivering to 17 health facilities within 3 LGAs. By June 2014, this had increased to 77 health facilities within 6 LGAs. And then at the end of 2015, we were able to deliver to 207 health facilities within all 20 LGAs in Lagos State. And by 2015, payment was solely made by Lagos State government with stopped support from CHAI and BMGF. So I think that was a great feat for us. So I'm just going to show what we had from 2013 when we started the pilot. Initially, we had 43% stockouts in 2013. And from 2013 up till date, we've had 0 stockouts at all levels. So just to reiterate, 207 from 17 health facilities. And then we've achieved 2,013 deliveries as of February 2017, which means that we've actually conducted 99% of planned activities. So thank you very much.
Indeed, I think it's not yet time to go to the beach. And I'm sorry that I didn't recognize some of the Nigerians. Maybe all of us that are Nigerians, we appeared in our traditional ways today, and we wanted to fly home after this presentation. But all of those Nigerians that are here are recognized, as you said. Now, these results are actually very fascinating. And actually, as somebody has said, it's not yet time to go to the beach. So in summary, VAN in Nigeria is simply about the people, the policies, and the processes, and also the technology. Just almost perfectly in alignment with the global thinking. But specifically for Nigeria, we have a VAN PMU, which, as you've heard, is within the NPACDA, sits regularly, and are always working. You have officers, logistics officers, in all the 36 states of the country, including FCT, because we call ourselves 36 states and FCT, and co-chain officers, and also zonal co-chain officers that have become more or less our custodians of vaccines and are churning up all this data regularly. They are also not sleeping. We've been able to put in place strong logistics working groups across the national and state levels, all that are also working. With regards to process and the policies in place, we have a very good data for action framework that has analytics in it, that also has a management response being developed inside it. It's not just, we've long discovered that it's not just about, I have analytics, I have the information, but you also have the systems to respond. That is what keeps the engine running. And we have planned, and we have a blueprint in place and an implementation plan in place. And the technology, we've developed a governance framework that guides introduction of tools, because we know, as I've said earlier, that we're a very beautiful bride. People want to woo us. They want to bring A, B, C, D in. So we need to actually say, hey, pass through this filter and let's see whether it will meet our expectations. And we also have a support for that technology evaluation in place. Our next steps, we want to work actually to integrate the supply chain and the program data, because this is actually what you get as true end-to-end visibility. You are seeing the supply side, you are seeing also the program side, and you're able to relate. And the roadmap, we've done the first one already. We've developed all the analytics framework, and we've centralized the supply chain management data in one place, which is very good. The next phase is that phase of accountability, tracking the data, the distribution, by lot, by expiry. Where is it? Oh, you're showing me it's 1 minute. We get 2 minutes for that. And that is going to be the next stage, and which we are on. We've been delayed by a couple of things, but I'm sure we'll get over it very soon now. And I'm saying this roadmap is over the next 1.5 years. We'll be able to get there. We'll now go into further analytics that will give us further foresight or insight into how to forecast properly and plan better our program. And then there will be virtually a program integration with the DHIS tool, which is the data system that we use to capture the service data. And on that aspect, what you see is that you will have regularly Navision communicating with DHIS2, and DHIS2 also communicating backwards with Navision on a regular basis, so that the immunization officers on the program side will be able to say, yes, indeed, this number of children could have been vaccinated because they had this adequate quantity of vaccines available and the fridge was working. And then on our own side also, we'll say, yes, indeed, this quantum of vaccines that we gave has actually produced these results because we have seen the utilization reports were okay and, in fact, a perfect system and a perfect blend. That is when we think we will be able to bring in all the other vertical programs in place and find a place for them to sit. Now, we need you to ask questions. And if we don't get questions, it means the message did not sink well. And your questions, again, will actually further encourage us to go where there are loopholes.
Fortunately, Dr. Mahmood,
Thank you so much.
I will invite people to find you during the break and ask you questions individually. But we want to thank the Nigeria team
Thank
for their
you.
excellent presentation.